The leader of the Tenshuin Naraku, an assassin, a disciple of the pure Yoshida Shouyou, and a subordinate of the weapon of death, Utsuro. This man served as the catalyst that brought the famous school, mentored by Yoshida Shouyou, Shoka Sanjuku, to life. Today, on Gintama Explained, we discuss the entire origin story of Oboro. Within Gintama, there is not much to go off of when it comes down to Oboro's upbringing and childhood, but what we do know is that around the time in which Utsuro gave birth to the Tenshuin Naraku, Utsuro, along with the Naraku, attacked Oboro's family home, in which we still do not know the reasoning for, and soon after everyone was completely massacred, the only survivor was Oboro. Traumatized by the incident, Oboro did his best to hide from the assassins, but unfortunately was spotted by one of them and was gravely wounded. Simply being left to die, he came face to face with the Grim Reaper himself, Utsuro. On the brink of death, Oboro awaited his execution. However, despite having took part in Oboro's family assassination, Utsuro, Yoshida Shouyou at the time, chose to not let Oboro die, and thus poured his Altana blood into the young boy, so that the boy could grow to hate him for as long as he had lived. This was essentially Utsuro's first atonement for the sins he had committed. After the events of his family's assassination, Oboro stays at Shouyou's place and helps around with household chores and other tasks around the home while he recuperates. Shouyou makes it obvious that Oboro is willing to stay for as long as he would like until he fully recovers, but the longer he would stay with his family's killer would only lead him to becoming an assassin as well. Despite this, Oboro remained hellbent on serving Shouyou and considered Shouyou to be his savior, and insists that Shouyou gave meaning to his unworthy life. We don't know the exact details of Oboro's childhood, but some speculate due to this statement by Oboro, Oboro had an unworthy life before he met Shouyou, and that Oboro was looked down upon, mistreated, and possibly even held as a slave by his own family. The encounter he had with Yoshida Shouyou gave his life purpose and brought out a better version of himself. It was actually Oboro who gave Yoshida Shouyou the suggestion of running his own school to teach children. Shouyou told him that through the atrocities that he had committed, he took so much away from people and that there would be no possible way a killer could become someone who taught others besides becoming a weapon of destruction. Nevertheless, Oboro states that if that were the case, Oboro would have been a killer by now. However, for as long as Oboro stayed with Shouyou, he refused to teach him any methods of killing, and with that, Oboro declares to Shouyou to make him his first student. Eventually, Yoshida Shouyou stops following all obligations with the Naraku, and the Naraku begin to automatically target him for desertion. Upon hearing the news, Oboro flees from the Naraku as well, and searches endlessly to find him, and when he does, Shouyou tells Oboro that he has been planning a plot like this for a while, but his meeting with Oboro finally made up his mind to disband from the Naraku and become a teacher. The both of them would soon become targets for the Naraku for desertion. However, both of them would remain together to create what would later be called Shoka Sanjuku, with Oboro as his first disciple. Shouyou continues to tell his plans to Oboro for the future of his school, with Oboro mesmerized and infatuated on what the future might bring for the both of them. With the both of them on the run and doing what they could to try to hide from the Naraku were always hot on their tail, even with Shouyou building traps to halt his pursuers. Having nowhere left to run and still carrying on Shouyou's ideals to never kill, Oboro decides to stab himself with Shouyou's sword and play as a decoy to throw the Naraku off their tail. Oboro tells the Naraku that he helped Shouyou escape, but after finding out that there was no escape, he decided to get rid of Oboro, and that being with him only would weigh him down. After trying to throw them off towards a different direction away from Shouyou, the Naraku see through Oboro's lies and question why would Oboro still be alive if Shouyou wanted to kill him, as he would not have had much trouble in doing so. Thus, the Naraku stab him, and most likely upon the commotion, Yoshida Shouyou witnesses this incident from afar. Oboro states that Shouyou didn't fail to kill him, but instead chose not to, and that his sensei will no longer kill anyone, nor would give his sensei the opportunity in order to do so. And with Oboro's last bit of strength, he activates a trap that Shouyou prepared earlier that triggers boulders to fall down upon the Naraku. As the boulders fall, Oboro apologizes to Shouyou for not keeping his promise to not kill, and that early on, he decided that he would lay down his life for Shouyou by any means necessary, even if it meant abandoning his master's ideals. Oboro believed if he couldn't protect his sensei and his ideals, he couldn't call himself a disciple of Shouyou, and with that, the rocks slammed into the flesh of every individual beneath them. Assuming that Oboro was killed, Shouyou turns away and carries on with his escape from the Naraku. Meanwhile, a few days pass and it turns out that Oboro actually survived from being crushed from the rocks, saved by his Altana blood. The Naraku soon take Oboro back into their ranks, disregarding his history of betrayal, and Oboro, believing that him surviving being crushed from the rocks was a sign to keep serving Shouyou, decides to stay within the ranks of the Naraku and solidify his status among them in order to prevent the Naraku from getting close to Shouyou, even if that meant abandoning his sensei's teachings to never kill. Oboro didn't care if he couldn't be by Yoshida Shouyou's side anymore. What he cared about was protecting Yoshida Shouyou in his ideals, even if that meant getting his hands dirty. One day, while walking near Shokasanjuku, Oboro spots Shouyou along with his new disciples, Gintoki, Katsura, and Takasugi. Oboro imagines what could have been and sees himself amongst the group, but with the reality soon kicking in, Oboro is reminded that he is no longer a part of Yoshida Shouyou's world. Around the time at which the Kansai Purge was being taken place, the Naraku soon learned about the whereabouts of Yoshida Shouyou. It is uncertain how they found Shouyou, but most signs point towards Oboro leaking out the information to the Naraku from being overcome with jealousy and grief from not being able to be by Yoshida Shouyou's side. Oboro thought in order to get his master back, he had to kill his master. Due to Shouyou's whereabouts, he was soon taken away from his students, and his school, Shokasanjuku, was burned to the ground. During Yoshida Shouyou's time in the cell, a girl named Mukuro, later to be known as Imai Nobume, was his guard. During this time, Shouyou taught her how to read, write, and convey emotions, which was something that Nobume lacked at the time. Even knowing full well that Nobume was an assassin as well, an orphan child brought in and trained by the Naraku, Yoshida Shouyou still did his best in order to teach her. Around the time in which Nobume met Sasaki Isaburo, along with the other trained Naraku children, came a moment in which they were going to be used in order to assassinate the Hitotsubashi family. Sasaki ended up preventing the assassination, which was later revealed to have been noticed by Oboro. Due to this, Oboro later gave members of the Naraku as well as Nobume herself the order to assassinate Sasaki Isaburo's family and later himself for disobeying the Tendoshu's orders. Later in the series, it was revealed that Nobume actually tried to prevent Sasaki's family from being killed. As the years pass and the Joi Wars begin to come to a close, before Shouyou is brought to his execution, the final time Oboro and Shouyou spoke, Shouyou gave his thanks that without Oboro, he would have never met the students who he taught. Without Oboro, Shokasanjuku would have never been built. And without Oboro, Yoshida Shouyou would have never existed, never forgetting about his very first student. After Shouyou's execution, filled with rage, Takasugi leaps at Gintoki for putting an end to their sensei, and in a matter of seconds, Oboro throws a knife that lodges deep inside Takasugi's left eye. Oboro ends up letting the students of Yoshida Shouyou live, stating that they failed to protect the very thing that mattered most to them. After the death of Yoshida Shouyou, it's later revealed that Oboro did not get back his sensei either, but instead, the entity known as Utsuro. Oboro stated that it did not matter if it was Utsuro or Yoshida Shouyou, and he promised himself that he would never betray him ever again, living for his sake, until the very last drop of Altana blood in his body had rotted away. As the story of Gintama progresses, we soon learn the fate of Oboro during the Rakuyu decisive battle arc, as he is put to an end by Takasugi. We learn that from his final words that if the possibility to turn back time existed, he would have liked to have done things differently, to become one of the disciples of Shoka Sanjuku, to learn and to study amongst his fellow students, and to become a part of Yoshida Shouyou's family. Takasugi decides that Oboro's body should not be left in the dirt, but instead should be placed by his master's side along with his fellow students. Towards the ending of the Silver Soul arc, because of the ongoing war as well as being critically wounded in battle, Takasugi had Oboro's body cremated. As Takasugi tried desperately to free Shoyo's body from the Yamato, Takasugi stabbed himself along with the bag carrying Oboro's ashes to infuse his blood with Oboro's Altana, both of them now remaining as one. Oboro's story is a very complex one, and in various ways, he holds the same traits as Takasugi and Gintoki. Without Oboro's presence within Gintama, the series of Gintama would have been very different, as he plays a major role in Yoshida Shouyou's story. As Yoshida Shouyou said, without Oboro, there would have never been no Shoka Sanjuku. Without Oboro, Shouyou would have never met other disciples. And without Oboro, Shouyou would have never existed. Oboro's story might be over, but his legacy and spirit carries on in the hearts of his fellow classmates.
お前たちに